understand the position of man within the chain of creation. Where does really man fit in? And we pointed out to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the creation in 6 days. 2 days for the heaven and earth, and then 4 days for what exists within it. Within the earth, obviously you have, the outward sustenance, meaning that the food and minerals and whatnot, animals, and then the statue of Adam also after that. Okay. And then in the heaven as well, you have certain creations or dwellings that exist, such as angels. Apart from angels, you have certain phenomena, certain realities, such as a rizq. The rizq is an immaterial phenomena. Rizq. Ilm. It has a reality. Ilm is not an angel as such. Rizq is also, once again, it's an immaterial reality. When we pray to Allah that, oh Allah, increase our rizq, so it really sits into a category that is in. So in heaven, that's where the rizq comes from. Or hayat, or I don't know, ilm, knowledge, it's somewhere there, and that's where it descends from there. It just connects to us. Or such as other even such as what you call when we talk about generosity. All of these qualities are some realities that exist within this heavenly creation, and then it descends from there to the person who is participating, who is acting. Same in the physical form as well. After that, we gave the model of man and creation, which we said that man is on 3 different levels, which is the level of his jism, level of his soul, or qalb, or heart, or nafs, and the level of his intellect, aql. The same way, within the model of the creation, we find the same 3 things as well. You have the mulk, which is the level of this earth, so to speak. Then you have the level of the malakut, the angelic realm, and then you have the level of the jabarut. So when you put these 2 models next to each other, the comparison of jabarut, which are the jabarut actually means that the realm of the names of God, where the names of God exist. Beyond that is the zat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just for us to have a zahiri understanding of it. However, there are many different ways that these has been divided into 7 and so on and so forth. But for a simple understanding, we could say that you have the mulk, you have the malakut, the angelic realm, the worldly plane, the angelic realm, and the jabarut, which is the realm of the names of God. So you put this model, 3 levels, and then you put the model of insan, where you have the body, you have the soul. Once again, soul have the aspect of the imagination and the material reality, and then you have the aspect of the aql, which is pure, which is intellect, which is actually could be compared to the level of the asma, because that intellect is actually, if it's facing to our side is intellect, if it's facing towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually ruh. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِ. That's what Adam have been blown into. Allah blows into Adam, his ruh, his spirit. So we have this 2 model which we discussed last night, right? And then we also pointed out to that, Allah have placed signs, and we have to contemplate in these signs that Allah have placed. For a person, in order to gain knowledge, in order to have knowledge of the future, in order to have control, he has to travel towards the heaven. He has to travel towards, malakut. Even in the physical sense that we see, or even these people who talk about astrology, about these signs and stars and so on and so forth, they are really, talking about the future based on this, constellation that is out there, right? And they are basically having that control over us by saying that this is going to happen, or this is what, so on and so forth. But however, they could only reach to the level of the constellation. They could only reach to the level of the, sort of like second level of the heaven, so to speak, which is the malakut, right? Now, for a person who is guided by the intellect, as we are talking about aql now, we'll define what aql really means, what definitions we have for the aql. For a person who is guided by the intellect, he goes beyond the realm of all of these fortune telling and knowledge and control, right? What I'm trying to say is that, for instance, if a person is based on the constellations, or based on his star sign or whatever, he has some sort of tabiya, some sort of, how shall I say, personality, which doesn't really fit or matches the personality of the spouse, for example. There's a fire sign or air sign or whatever, right? That doesn't really match. However, if these two personalities are governed by the intellect, which is beyond the malakut, which is beyond the angelic realm, it will have no effect. These star signs or these future knowledge that they predict will have no effect, because this mu'min or this person is connecting to something which is higher than these star signs. Like for example, if my tabiyat, if my personality is that I get angry very quickly, now you have another person who have the same, will have an issue, right? Now, if I focus upon what the aql is teaching, which is to have help, basically to control anger, not to be arrogant, not to be sort of angry, it's not good, which is taught by the aql to the nafs. So now my nafs will be under control, although my tabiya, although my personality is not like that, because I'm listening to the aql or something that is higher to my nafs, right? So this is how a man sort of begins his journey from this dunya towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, towards the divine. Now, coming on to the definitions and how aql is envisaged or explained within the Quran or within the teachings of Ahl Bayt alayhimus salam, and the importance of aql. Now, we mentioned last night as well a narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam in regards to that. Where he talks about, or where he explains, where a person asks him in regards to that, what is really aql, and he says that aql is really actually that which God is worshipped. It was asked what intellect was, to which he replied, it is that with which the beneficent God is worshipped. Al-aqlu ma ubida bihi ar-Rahman, right? And with which paradise is attained. So the man asked, so what about that which even Muawiyah possessed? We were mentioning that. And then he replied that this is something similar to aql. It has a shabi, it has a similarity to aql. But he says here, he replied, that is a vicious thing. That is devilry and resembles intellect. Thought, it is not intellect. It is kind of like intellect, but it's not really intellect. It cannot be called aql, right? And now when we look at the definitions of aql, aql comes from iqal, meaning that one refrains oneself from something. That's what aql means, that one controls, one refrains. On what basis? Aql once again is something that is divine material, right? So it refrains from those things which are haram for a person to do, or it commands, or it does. It is the hub where a person intellectualizes, or a person calculates things. That's what he's done. That's what he do. In terms of when we say that a person have intellect, it means that he calculates, he makes judgments, he makes sort of differentiate between things, what is good for him and what is bad for him, and he acts upon it, or he refrains from committing that thing. That's what we call it act. However, we are still in the level of defining the aql from a very material point of view. Still, with the aql which Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, or the narration that we'll look at, like aql is known as nur. In a narration from the Imam, he says aql is light, is nur which God places in your heart. And that's what aql is, according to a narration, right? So, but when we are talking about intellect or a person being intelligent, it still is very calculative. This is good for me, this is not bad for me, he makes a decision, This is very lower level of the intellect, the lowest level of the intellect. And then what the Ma'asumeen is talking about. So from the point of view of the definition is that iqal, which means that refraining from, a person really restricts himself, controlling himself. That's what the aql is. Now here, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says that the very basis of man is his intellect. And the man devoid of intellect has no deen, no religion. Although we may find from a secular point of view, a person who is very intellectual, but he's a non-believer, he does not believe in any religion, right? But Rasulullah is saying that, on what the six Imam have said in terms of the aql. He says that if a person, the basis of man, insan, is really his aql. And then if he does not have aql, means that he does not have deen. So a religious person is an intellectual person. A person who is deendar, a person who is religious, that means he has head on his shoulder, so to speak. He's an intelligent person. Yes, he may be weak in terms of his capacity of memorizing things or decision making, but at least he has deen. He has that religion. He has that religion by which he could deter between what is haqq and what is batil, right? On the other hand, you have people with Yazid or Umar as-Sa'd who were, how shall I say, very intelligent, Hafiz al-Quran, have that power of memory, even, they can deduct, they can talk about narration, so on and so forth, but when it comes to their intellect, which according to the definition of the Prophet, they had no deen. That's what the Imam Hussein says, that when they were attacking the tents, when Imam Hussein was about to die, he was all alone, he said, you guys have no deen, what are you doing? I'm still alive. You have no deen, meaning that you have no aql. Right? And here, on the other hand, on the other side, with Imam Hussein alayhi salam, there were people who were scholars, like as we're going to talk about Habib ibn Mazahir. He was a proper scholar. But at the same time, you have people who never went to school as such, like Wahab. He was always in the desert, right? And however, he still joined Imam Hussein alayhi salam. But he had that aql by which he could deter between haqq and batil. That aql was there. So this aql, this intellect, is something beyond what the material aql which we calculate things from. Right? So that's what the Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. The intellect is the strongest foundation. Or in another narration, it says the intellect sets right all matters. Everything is set in the right direction. It's because of the aql. If a person have that aql. Now, I may fall short in terms of seeing and deterring, differentiating between haqq and batil. When I try to calculate, I have certain hurdles, and this calculation of mine, and the reason I may fall short is because of my desires and of my nafs, which I have to get rid of that, and then see the aql. As we said, Imam Kazim alayhi salam clearly points out in regards to where aql is considered as hujjat. In one of the hadiths, the narrations, that he says that Allah have given, O Hisham, nothing have been bestowed upon servant better than the intellect. Nothing Allah have favored, as we said, that He has created all of these things for insan. لَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَاهُ بَنِي آدَمَ. He has given that karamat to Bani Adam is because of this aql, which only insan have the capability and capacity to really have that with him. Other creations, haywanat and others, they did not. But insan had that capacity to really have that with him. And that's what Imam is saying. And then he says that he has placed two hujjat, two proofs of Allah. One is in him, which is aql, and one is hujjat or proof which is outside, which are the prophets and the aimma, masumeen. they are also hujjat. And that's what we said last night, that when because my aql is it dims, or it gets contaminated because of my nafs, it tends to calculate only on the material basis, then you have the hujjat from outside. Guides my aql, then I hold myself, iqal, holding myself. So I hold myself, and then I listen to the hujjat which is outside, and this is how things are put in the right. As Amirul Mu'minin says that, Ali ibn Abi Talib, the intellect says right, all matters, is put in the right direction. So having that, aql and intellect, which is pure material, which is very divine, not just and also there another narration which we may be able to understand, and then inshallah we'll enter into the discussions of love. The famous hadith of ubbad, of worshippers, of servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-ubbadu salas. There are three different types of worshippers. You have this hadith from the Prophet, you have this hadith from Amirul Mu'minin, you have this hadith from other imams as well. Three types of worship. A person who worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of the fear of the hellfire. Tilkal, ibadul, those people who are fear. This is the type of the people who are afraid. Then there are people who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they want Jannah. Tilka ibadul tujjar. This is the worship of those people who are tijarat, who want to do business. And there's nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about it in the Quran as well, that those who is there to do tijarat with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So anyway, so that's then he said, and there are the third type of people who are ibad. They are the one who love to worship, who love Allah. Tilka ibadul ahrar. These are the people who are free. Now you have the aspect of the love. Love, like as we said, it goes much beyond than the aql. Still, aql have the calculation. Fear is because of the aql. If my intellect is telling fear, I have to worship. Now, this is a much better type of intellect, or a higher type of intellect. Even the material I will keep aside, right? I will say that, well, it's a Jannah, it is Qiyamah, it is Azab. So, still you have the element of the divine intellect there. My calculation is based on that divine realities that is out there, right? Still you have that aspect of the aql there. But something which goes beyond aql, that's what we find in many of the poetry of Hafiz and Rumi and all that, which we'll look at it later on, inshallah, its translation. That when that ishq comes, the aql is completely, so to speak, it doesn't seem to be there. However, the ashiq, the person who's a lover, he is the greatest intellectual. He's the greatest intellectual, and that's why you have narrations in regards to ushaq, in regards to those who are ashiq, they are severe, sort of infatuated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by awliya, which we'll take a look at it later on. So still we'll focus it on aql today. Now here in the narration in regards to aql, that we find that aql is something that comes from iqal, which comes from that a person withholds himself from committing certain things which are not allowed for him, or pushes oneself to carry out things which are asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that will take him towards that journey, which is towards that malakut, and higher towards that jabarut, because the aql is from the material of the jabarut. Now, when we, one of the things that becomes the goal, or the bullseye, or the target of the journey, in a nutshell, is that tawheed, is that ma'rifat, and understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Awwaluddin, the first thing of deen. Now if we say that a person who do not have aql doesn't have deen, so the first thing for the aql, it becomes that ma'rifat. Amirul Mu'minin in the khutbah says, Awwaluddin ma'rifat. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Another salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
And as we are talking about intellect, as we are talking about deen, now we talk about tawheed, and particularly when it comes to Imam Hussain alayhi salam and our maktab and our ideology and our deen. Why do we really say that Tashayyu or Shia Islam is considered to be the top notch or the best of all deen? Like we said, that all of the Anbiya and Awliya were sent in order to make insan, his intellect perfect, his aql reaches kamal, its perfection, right? That's why the Anbiya and Awliya have been sent. Now, the kamal of aql is really comprehension of God, of that tawheed. That is the perfection of one's aql. To really have that intrinsic, that sort of fine, subtle, latif understanding of tawheed, of oneness of God, of the nature of God, and what God is. How can it be possible that, how can it be possible that to really see God, as Amirul Mu'mineen have clearly mentioned, that do I worship Allah that I don't see? We have to see God. But what is this seeing? Is it by my eyes, physical eyes? As we mentioned that له عيون ولكن لا يبصرون بها. They have eyes but they don't see. Right? It's not that physical, but in terms of that, the eye of the heart, where one really sees Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, feels that presence. أينما تولوا فثم وجه الله, for example, as it's been mentioned, that what is wajh? Face. What does really face mean? When I am, for example, looking at this side, but if I am looking at you, you will not say that your face is towards me, your eyes is towards me. Right? When I am looking at you directly, my ears, my tawajjuh, my focus is all towards you, then there is my face, my wajh is towards you. So that means we are saying that wherever you turn, it is not just that Allah's eyes that He is hearing. It's not just that He's, the eyes that He's seeing or His ears that He's listening. Wajhullah is there. His face is turned towards you wherever you turn. So His tawajjuh and His focus is all towards you and only you. But for you is the same thing. For you is the same thing. Now this tawajjuh of God towards me, it really depends on how much of my tawajjuh is towards Him. If I have that ma'rifah and that understanding, that knowledge and that intellect, then my tawajjuh, my focus towards Him will be very similar to the way we are saying, أَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. His wajh and His face is towards me. And that's always been the case. Because the Quran is clearly saying that. The Quran is clearly saying, wherever you turn, there's the face of God, but it is me who is not seeing the face of God. But if I have that aql, that intellectual capacity, that understanding of that tawheed, that the presence of God is there, God is nearer to me than my own jugular vein, what does that really mean? Right? Then I will be able to see that wajh khuda, that face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this means that I have to make that journey from my heart, from my soul, from my nafs towards this aql, towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to really have that ma'rifah, that understanding. Abaluddin ma'rifah. So now I go back to the point which I mentioned, that what is it that really makes our maktab, our, why is it that we are really emphasizing on Ashura? Ashura, la yawmuka, yawmuka Aba Abdullah. There wasn't any day like the day of Aba Abdullah Hussain. That one day, that few hours were so powerful. That was so powerful that it included the future and the past of Zaman and Makan. Kullu yawmin ashura. Kullu ardin Karbala. Do you see that? That this one day contained in itself certain realities, that it became the all land and all day. All of days that is there, it became that. All of land that is out there, it is nothing but Ashura. Because it was a day of the reflection of Tawheed to the maximum capacity that it could have ever reflected. Because, you know, when we were reading some of the statements of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and today as well, when Habib ibn Mazahir comes to Imam Hussain, he says that there's an Azdi tribe, that's what the tribe he belonged to. He said, I will go and ask them to come and help. Then Imam Hussain alayhi salam said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And Habib ibn Mazahir fully understood what Imam Hussain alayhi salam is saying. He said, okay, there's no quwwah but the quwwah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatsoever is happening, whether that be in a form of a shimmer, or whether that be in the form of Ali Akbar or Habib ibn Mazahir, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Right? So this day is a day where a person is able to understand and fully comprehend what is Tawheed. Because la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. La mu'athara fil wujud illa billah. There's only one existence, and that's the existence of God. Yes, that existence may be having a form of a Pharaoh or Shimmer, but still that is nothing but a reflection of the divine nature. And Karbala was able to really contain that. That's why it becomes nothing but beauty. Illa Jamila. Because it contained that, it managed to. And Imam Hussain orchestrated that. You know, he was the wali of all of this to make it happen. To bring all of the awsaf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether that be the qahariyat of God, or whether that be the jamal of God, Imam Hussain managed to do that. So now, the unique aspect of Tashayyu, of Shi'ism, becomes the aspect of his aql. The aspect of aql meaning that it is able to comprehend and understand what Tawheed is. In the sense that the Ahl Bayt and the Awliya, for them, will become manifestation and reflection of the divine. And when they become that in full sense, in full capacity, as they should be, as an insan should be, because of him being the Khalifa. Khalifa means, mukhalif, somebody who is opposite. When you stand in the mirror, reflect exactly. Khilaf, right? Opposite to each other in reflection. So he becomes the manifestation of the Asma, where that's where the Imams have mentioned that we are the names of God. Nahnu Asma'ullah. Right? And for me, believing in the Imams and at the same time accepting them as the names of God, accepting them as the reflection of God, we say that, I would say something beyond. God is something else. God is beyond that. Subhanallah ya is Subhan. That vision, that understanding can only takes place among the Tashayyu. You don't find that in any other philosophy or in any other deen. That's what Shia Islam becomes at very unique. La farqa baynaka wa baynaha illa ibaduka wa khalquka. In one of the du'as of Imam Zaman that is given to his ashab, that we recite in the month of Rajab, that there is no difference between them and Allah. Illa, that illa is there. Ibaduka wa khalquka. Only a Shia heart or aql is able to digest that and understand that. As it was for the Jews, they say Uzair is the son of God. As it for the Christians, they say Isa is the son of God. Why? Because Isa is born without a father, for example. Or Isa is someone who can give life, who can bring people to life, back to life after they die. This is how, and they couldn't really comprehend and understand that it is possible that if an insan who is on this mulk travels towards malakut, to the jabarut, and he becomes kun fayakun. If he orders, it will happen. One of the stories of Sayyid Ali Qazi Tabatabai was the Ustad of Allama Tabatabai. Sayyid Ali Qazi Tabatabai was a very unique, strange personality for whom Allama Tabatabai says that Kuwe Tawheed Boot. And he was the mountain of Tawheed, Sayyid Ali Qazi. And he was walking through the Wadi al-Salam. Wadi al-Salam is the graveyard in Najaf. And Sayyid Ali Qazi would be seen often in Wadi al-Salam. And one of his Dastur Amal, or one of his prescription for his students who were in Irfan, who wants to do this travel from Mulk and Malakut towards Jabarut, was that go visiting graveyards. And in the month of Ramadan, last 10 days, they say he just disappears. Some would say that he used to be maybe in the Wadi al-Salam. And as a matter of fact, if you want to know, Sayyid Ali Qazi, he would not accept students in Irfan, in mysticism, unless or until they are mujtahid. They have to be a mujtahid in order to be the student of Sayyid Ali Qazi. So Sayyid Ali Qazi was walking in Wadi al-Salam. Bahjat was one of his students. Allama Tabatabai was one of his students. And then he saw a dead snake. And then Sayyid Ali Qazi asked the snake to come to life. It came to life. This has been recorded by his student. So when a person reaches to that level of Jabarut, from Mulk, he passes Malakut, he sees angels. Angels are nothing. Level of angelic realm, Tanazzalul Malaikatu Warru, as we recite, Shabaqadar, the Malaika descends. However, we don't see Malaika. We should be seeing Malaika when they are descending. But we don't see. Because we are still stuck in our own nafs. Right? Tanazzalul Malaikatu Warru, for instance. And then, even beyond that, it reaches to the level of Asma Ilahi, to the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where one of the names is Hayy. So if a person invokes that name, then he could do miracles. He becomes the name itself. That Ism Azam, when we talk about one of the greatest name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is not really a word as such, but rather it is a maqam. Rather it's a station. A person travels station to station. From this mulk he travels to the malakut, he reaches another station. And within the malakut there are many stations. In Adab al-Salat Imam Khomeini, which has been translated, if you look at, Imam talks about these stations. As-Salat Mirajul Mu'min, our prayers can ascend of soul. The soul, when it travels, goes through different stations. Right? And then this Ism Azam, which is the divine name that a person recites something and it will happen, that is actually a maqam. It's actually considered as a station. A person dwells there, a person is on that level, and it could happen. Right? And the Aimma and Masumi alayhi salam were on that maqam. So now, what I'm trying to say is that, Nasara, when they saw Isa alayhi salam performing these miracles, they said that this cannot be possible by a man. That he has to be son of God. That's why he's performing this. However, when it comes to Islam, we say that, well, if a person travels and reaches to that maqam, yes, it is possible to attend 40 invitations in one night, as Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam have done. That he could project himself. And as from Sadra discusses this, Mullah Sadra discusses this, that the mind have the capacity to really project his body wherever he wants, as a shallow body. And it is only, a person knows that where there is a shallow body, and when he is looking at it, he looks at it's a proper body. Right? So therefore, the mind and the intellect have that capacity to do so, have that power to do so. Only if he travels. Only if he comes out, only if he does that muhajirat. Now we find that, when it comes to the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, particularly as we said that we are the Shias, that's in that direction we should be going. In the direction of increasing our mental capacity or intellectual capacity to really understand the marahil of Tawheed, the levels of Tawheed, right? And at the same time, having said that, this is something يَغْزِهُ فِي قَلْبِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ as well. We have to try from our side, right? When I am here, that means I am here in order to really gain. Yes, maybe so that the Maulana is not speaking good, I'm not really enjoying it, he's going in tangents or I don't understand. But however, when you are here in the majlis of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, and you have intended to be in the majlis of Imam Hussain alayhi salam, you will be raised to the level where Allah will open your heart and will place that knowledge which Imam Hussain gave in your heart. Al-ilmu nurun yaghzifu fi qalbi man yasha. Knowledge is actually that light, and Allah places this knowledge in the hearts of whosoever He desires. Right? So what I'm saying is that it is also where I struggle and try myself to increase my mental capacity, intellectual capacity to really understand deen, to really understand how important, ahkam, theology, philosophy, irfan, so on and so forth is by reading, right? And at the same time, it is something that God opens the heart. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we have to have the aspect of the amal as well. Then, inshallah, maybe we'll get into later on into the discussion of muhabbat and also aql, because aql is divided into two levels. There's aql-nazari, which is speculative or theoretical aql, intellect, and aql-amali, which is practical aql as well. And the difference between aql-nazari and aql-amali, what's the difference? Inshallah, probably we'll take a look at later on. So here it means that the increasing of this knowledge and of our capacity of ta'aqqul, of intellectualizing things, is also something that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which requires our ibadat, which requires that we should be asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over and over again to increase our knowledge. That the Prophet, he himself used to say, Rabbi zidni ilma, right? The Prophet used to say that, oh Allah, increase my knowledge. And even the Prophet, reaching to that level of kamal, ma arafnaka haqqa ma'rifatik. I don't have that knowledge of you, O Allah, the way I should really understand you, because Allah is eternal. The knowledge of Allah is eternal. So we, as a follower of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, should be on this path, should be going in this direction of increasing our capacity of having the possible, having the knowledge of Tawheed to the level it is possible for me. And this is our journey. This is our journey. And the Ahlul Bayt are the one, or if we go to the door of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they are the provider of it. Those people who say that Shias, they talk about Imams, they talk about, Ahlul Bayt, they talk about intercession, why can't we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly? Yes. The Ahlul Bayt is teaching us how to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. The Ahlul Bayt teach us, give us the manner, give us the knowledge of God, how and in which way to ask. Right? In du'as, that's what it is. In dua Arafah, what we say is asking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. But the dua Arafah is talking about, is providing us with the knowledge of Tawheed and who God is. Because araftuka wa anta dallaltani ilayhi. Oh Allah, I know you because you showed yourself to me. Not that I come to you through signs. You have showed yourself to me. I have seen you. That's why I know you. This is Tawheed. Right? So Habib ibn Mazahir was one of this kind, known to be as faqih, known to be as the knowledgeable one. And it is someone which is very much required to be with Imam Hussain alayhi salam to manifest and to show the reflection of Tawheed in the plain of Karbala. And Habib is someone to be known as to die or become shaheed or die for Imam Hussain twice. Habib died twice. He did not die once. Habib died when he was young. And his father had invited, in some narrations, it says the Prophet, in some says that Amirul Mu'mineen was the ashab. His father was also the companion of the Prophet, was also the companion of Amirul Mu'mineen, Habib ibn Mazahir's father. And he had invited Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein to his house. And Habib was desperately waiting for his friend to arrive. And he was going up the roof by stairs to see whether and where, Ali and the children of Ali have reached and his friend have reached. While going up and down the stairs, he slipped. He tripped. And then he fell down and he died. And the father, Muzahir, when he looks at Habib dead and the mother as well, they say that, well, the guests are coming to our house. And it is not good to, make the guests unhappy. Look at the teachings of the Prophet and Ahl Bayt. So we will hide, Habib's body in the room and will not inform Hazrat Ali, because he is coming to our house, that Habib have died. A very similar story is in regards to Malik Jawad Agha Tabrizi. Malik Jawad Agha Tabrizi was a Ustad of Imam Khomeini in Akhlaq. He is buried in Sheikhain, which is a graveyard near Haram Hazrat Masuma. And Imam Khomeini, when he came to Iran after the revolution, and he came to Qom, and he made Qom as the capital to begin with, or he was stationed in Qom in the beginning few months. He went to the grave of his Ustad, Malik Jawad Agha Tabrizi first. On the day of Eid, his son, his child, was playing in the yard. And usually in Iran, these yards, they have this pound, hove, they have this pound in the yard, like a small, where they make wudu and stuff. His son drowned in that. He fell in that and he drowned and he died. So as it was Eid day and students were coming, family members were coming to wish Malik Jawad Agha Tabrizi, he hid his son's body in the room. And he did not want to spoil the Eid of others who were coming to give him Eid Mubarak. And then after everybody went in the evening, only few of his close ones were there. He said, I have a request, can you help me? My son died and I need help for the funeral. So here, when it comes to, this is how we learn from our, ashab of the Masumeen of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. So Habib tripped and he died. And when Imam Hussein and Imam Hassan and Amir al-Mu'mineen came to the house, and Imam Hussein is, really insisting, wanting to see Habib, want to play with Habib. Where is Habib? Where is Habib? And the parents are avoiding discussion of Habib because Habib is dead. So then finally Imam Hussein himself goes inside the room and he sees Habib lying down. And Imam Hussein says, "Oh Habib, come, let's play." Habib got up and started playing. The father was shocked. And then he mentions that what happened? That he was dead. And it is Imam Hussein who said, "Come and let's play." So Habib died twice in the love of Hussein, in anticipating for Hussein to come, and the second time going to Imam Hussein in time. That is why they say that when you go do ziyarat for Imam Hussein, you visit Habib twice, because Habib is buried at the doorstep of the haram. When you go to Imam Hussein, you stay at Habib, you give ziyarat to Habib, and then when you come back from Imam Hussein salam, once again you give salams to Habib, because he had died twice for Imam Hussein salam. So Habib was just a little one when Rasulullah was still alive. And amongst all the children who were playing as Rasulullah was passing by, he comes to Habib and he picks up Habib out of all children. And he kisses Habib. And the ashab asked that why out of all, you have done this special, showed your special kindness to Habib. It was nothing significant from Rasulullah and Masumeen alayhi salam, right? The very day, even before Imam Hussein was born, the death, the Shahada was announced. Don't we recite in the 3rd of Shaban, the dua which comes from Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam, that, Allahumma bihaqqa hadha al-mawlud, who for the sake of this mawlud who is born on the 3rd, whose Shahada was already announced in the heaven even before he was born. Right? So the Prophet said that this man, this child, this will help my grandson Hussein. So whoever loves Hussein, I love him. So because Hussein is from me and I am from Hussein. So Habib came to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, as some narration says, on the 7th of Muharram. And the 7th of Muharram is the time where we find that the water were cut to the tents of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So when Habib arrived, as we know that Imam Hussein is very caring, he had asked his men to fetch water for the 1,000 men and for Hur before attending or before visiting that station where he stopped. And now Habib have arrived from Kufa and there is no water in the tents of Hussein. Hussein said, "Oh Habib, you are my guest today, but what type of host I am that I don't even have water to really give you." And when Habib comes, he pays his loyalty, he pays his allegiance. And this news reaches to the tent of Zainab Salaamullah alayha. Because Zainab is in stress, is worried that who will really help Hussein. And whenever she's informed that people are joining Imam Hussein alayhi salam, she becomes very happy. Wahab joined, she became very happy. Habib ibn Mazahir comes, she gives salams and salutations to Habib, sends salams. Habib said that what has happened, that the time have come where Zainab is sending salams to Habib. And then on the day of Ashura, when one after the other were going into the battlefield and sacrificing their life for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, to protect the life of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Because every breath of Imam Hussein is very special, and very unique, and very much required by this earth for him to breathe. The more he will breathe, the more mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be on this earth. Imagine if they would have allowed the Masumin alayhi salam to breathe. What this earth would be today. It would be a very different world today if they would have given the opportunity to live instead of all of them were martyred. So only those who are the awliya, those who are aware of what the value of this nafas, of this breath is, they know how to protect it and they want to protect it. That is why Imam Hussein went the last. They wanted Imam Hussein to protect. And the time comes, this old man, this Habib says that I am going, O Hussein. We are very close friends. There's a different relationship between friends. And when Habib was going, Imam Hussein shed tears. He says, "Oh Habib, I remember those times when we were in Medina together playing and Rasulullah being there. What great times were." And then Habib goes into the battlefield and he fights. What a furious fight Habib fought. And that hour comes that they've struck on the head of Habib, and Habib couldn't control himself on the steed and he falls on the ground. Every Shaheed, he gives his salutation, "Assalamu alaikum." It is that hour, O Abu Abdullah, take my last salutations and salam. And here, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam reached to Habib ibn Mazahir, he's on the ground, he places the head of Habib in his lap. And then here Habib and Imam Hussein alayhi salam have few words. Imam Hussein says, "Oh Habib, put your hand on my neck. Hold me, O Habib." And from the other hand, he points out to Muslim ibn Awsaja and he says that, "Oh Muslim, take care of Hussein. He's the only child left from Fatima." That is why Imam Hussein always introduced in the plain of Karbala, you would say, he never said, "I am Ana Hussein ibn Ali." He always said, "I am Hussein, son of Fatima." Because there's something about Fatima Salaamullah alayha who have attended, who have came already, who is already in the plain of Karbala. She is there. She is witnessing the martyrdom of each and every Shaheed, one after the other. That's why we all give our condolences and our pursa to the Bibi, to Hazrat Fatima, to Zahra, who have arrived in our majalises. She is here. She is our guest. So we extend tonight our condolences of this great martyr, Habib ibn Mazahir. Allah la'natullah ala al-qawm al-zalimin. Sayyadum alladhina zalamu ayyuhum qalibin yanqalibu matam al-Hussein.
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein.
Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of living without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of living without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of prayer without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of Iman without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of living without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of living without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of prayer without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of Iman without you? Shahidain Karbala, 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 Shahidain Karbala. Habib and Muslim have come to ask for permission to join. Habib and Muslim have come to ask for permission to join the garden of love of Allah, fountain of death for wilayah. The garden of love of Allah, fountain of death for wilayah. Mawla Hussein is restless, I can't let you go, my friend. Mawla Hussein is restless, I can't let you go, my friend. This has no meaning to these men. They ask Mawla a small question. Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of living without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of living without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of prayer without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of Iman without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of living without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of living without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of prayer without you? Mawla Jan, what's the meaning of Iman without you? Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala, everyone all together. Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala, Shahidain Karbala. Habib and a Muslim have come to ask for permission to smell. Habib and a Muslim have come to ask for permission to smell the perfume breeze of Shahada, the reliever of distress. The perfume breeze of Shahada, the reliever of distress. After Hussein, where is the sand to kiss from under his feet? After Hussein, where is the sand to kiss from under his feet? After Hussein, where is the smile to seek for refuge in the heat? After Hussein, where is the smile to seek for refuge in the heat? Mawla Jan, there is no life for us without you. Mawla Jan, there is no life for us without you. Mawla Jan, which would stand to adore without you. Mawla Jan, who's smart to live for without you. Mawla Jan.